was such an isolated journey becoming a bodybuilder, because who am I going to talk to about shaving my legs and putting on a pair of briefs and looking at half-naked men in a magazine and telling them this is who I want to be, this is what I like. I would go into my friend's room and have pinup girls on their wall, and here I got these half-naked men, and my talk is about, the next steak or the next chicken breast or the next, I have to eat, I have to train, and no girl, not even guys wanted to hear that kind of conversation. 3 years after graduating high school, I won my pro card by winning the overall national championships. 6 months later, I went on to win the Junior World Championships over in Australia, and I found myself in 1986 on the cover of Flex magazine. First one, it's just right up there. I was barely 19 years old. I was in front of Joe Weider's office. Kevin Wayne took the photograph. Ricky Wayne was the editor of Flex magazine. And I thought, you know what, I'm on a cover of an international magazine. I'm in junior college, and I'm getting fan mail. I must be on my way. I started to believe that this was my calling. In 1987, 5 years after they ever started the NPC National Championships, I was the 5th member of the overall championship, and I found myself getting a contract with Joe Weider. And it just seemed like everything exploded. I was barely 22 years old. In 1988, I'm standing next to Lee Haney, Bob Paris, and Gary Stridham, and Mike Quinn on the Mr. Olympia stage one day after my birthday, the night after my grandmother died. Big Mama had just passed away, and I'm in downtown Los Angeles competing in the biggest contest in the world, where only 5 short years prior, that was a million miles away from my reality. And of course, I got like 13th place. I was just a kid competing against men, but I would have paid money to be on that stage, to stand next to them. And those trophies kept coming in, and eventually those trophies turned into paychecks. And when I was able to move out of my mom's house at 21 years old and get my first apartment, I remember in 1988, my first apartment was $700, and my car note was $289, and I got a contract from Joe Weider for $1,000. And I thought, well, this is great. How am I going to put gas in it? How am I going to buy groceries? How am I going to get insurance? That's where I made sure I surrounded myself with like-minded individuals in bodybuilding to do the business of bodybuilding. I needed to find out how to promote and market myself, and I knew early on that this would all come to an end at some point. So I wanted to find my way behind the camera so that there's longevity there, become a creator. In the process of my bodybuilding career, I promoted bodybuilding shows, I put on muscle camps, I made sure that I was accessible to do all the seminars. If I got a fan letter in the mail, I would always write back, and on the back end, I'd be doing the selling point. Buy an 8x10, buy a t-shirt, buy a video. I constantly tried to market myself and make sure that if there was something out there to promote, that I at least put my name in the hat so they would know I'm available. So we had clothing lines, remember Platinum Everywhere and Crazy Wear and Ruthless Wear, and all these crazy clothing lines were coming out in the 80s. And then there were gyms. I aligned myself with Powerhouse Gyms International, Will Dabish, Crystal Dabish, and Norm Dabish. I was on contract with them for almost 8 years. A guy out of Germany had Pro Fitness USA clothing line, which turned into Ruthless Wear. I was with them for 9 years. They created a glove, Saranac Gloves, the president of the player personnel for the Green Bay Packers. They created a Shawn Ray Muscle Box glove that I endorsed for 11 years of my career. And during those 11 years, I was able to fly to Green Bay, go on the playing field while they warmed up, in the locker rooms before the game, and then up into the luxury box to watch the games. And that satisfied my football craving. But what was ironic about it was these football players were in awe of me. And I was in awe of them because they all worked out and they read the magazines. They couldn't believe I was there supporting them. So that was really a nice mesh from my bodybuilding and my glove contract that helped finance my career. It helped satisfy my craving for football that I didn't get. And also I made some great friendships with football players that were living the dream of football. I